leap with joy. We celebrate the birth of Christ through giving, sharing, and love. Our final performances, we hope we will remind you of the true Christmas spirit.
The Christmas truce between British and German soldiers of 1914. It's certainly one of the most remarkable incidents of World War I.
On Christmas Day, the German troops stopped shooting and began to sing Christmas carols, to which the British troops responded by singing English carols. This piece is composed of letters they wrote to their family, friends, and lovers about this eventful day.
Christmas Day, 1914. Dear Mother,
my darling Meg,
My good friend Charles,
My dear sister Janet,
it is 2 o'clock in the morning, and most of the men are asleep in their dugouts.
yet I could not sleep myself before writing to you of the wonderful events of Christmas Eve.
in truth, what happened seems almost like a fairy tale. And if I hadn't been through it myself, I would scarce believe it.
just imagine while you and the family sung carols before their fires in London. I did the same with enemy soldiers here on the battlefields of France.
As I wrote before, there has been little serious fighting of late. The first battles of the world left so many dead that both sides have held back until replacements could come from home. So we have mostly stayed in our trenches and waited.
But what terrible waiting it has been, knowing that any moment an artillery shell might land and explode beside us in trench, killing or maiming severe men. And in daylight, not daring to lift our heads above ground for fear of a sniper's bullet.
In the rain, it has fallen almost daily. Of course, it corrects right in our trenches where we must bathe it out with pots and pans. And the rain has come mud, a good foot or more deep.
It splatters and cakes everything and constantly sucks our boots. One new recruit got his feet stuck in it, and then his hands too when he tried to get out, just like an American story with that tar baby.
Through all this, we couldn't help feeling curious about the German soldiers across the way. After all, they faced the same dangers we did, and slogged about in the same muck.
What more, their first trench is only 50 yards from ours, between us lay no man's land, bordered on both sides by barbed wire. Yet they were close enough, we sometimes heard their voices.
Of course, we hated them whenever they killed our friends, but other times we joked about them and almost felt we had something in common.
And now it seems they feel the same.
Just yesterday morning, Christmas Eve day, we had our first good breeze. Cold as we were, we welcomed it, because at least the mud froze solid.
Everything was tinged white with a frost, while a bright sun shone over all. Perfect Christmas weather.
During the day, there was a little shedding of light fire from either side, and the darkness fell on Christmas Eve. The shooting stopped entirely.
Our first complete silence in months. We hoped it might promise a peaceful holiday, but we didn't count on it. We'd been told the Germans might attack and try to catch us off guard.
I went to the dugout rest, and lying on my cot, I must have drifted asleep. All at once, my friend was shaking my leg, saying, "Come and see! See what the Germans are doing!" I grabbed my rifle, stumbled into a trench, and stuck my head cautiously above the sandbags.
I never hoped to see a stranger, a more lovely sight. Cluttered of tiny lights shining all along the German line. left and right, as far as the eye could see.
What is it? I asked in bewilderment, and someone answered, Christmas trees!
And so it was. The Germans had placed Christmas trees in front of the trenches, lit by candle and lantern, like beacons of goodwill.
And then we heard their voices raising song. Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht.
This carol may not yet be familiar to us in Britain, but one soldier knew it and translated it. Silent night, holy night. I never heard one lovelier or more meaningful. In that quiet, clear night, it's dark, softened by a first quarter moon.
When the song finished, the men in our trenches applauded. Yes, British soldiers applauded Germans.
Then one where all men started singing, and we all joined in. The first Noel, the angel did say.
In truth, we sounded no near as good as the Germans with their fine harmonies, but they responded with the enthusiastic applause of their own, and then began another. O Tannenbaum, O Tannenbaum.
Then we replied,
O come, all ye faithful.
But this time, they joined in, singing the same words in Latin.
Adeste fideles, jote triumphes, O come to Bethlehem. British and German harmonizing across no man's land. I would have thought nothing could be more amazing, but what came next was more so.
English, come over! We heard one of them shout. You know shoot! We know shoot!
there in the trenches. We looked at each other bewildered. Then one of us shouted jokingly, You come over here?
To our astonishment, we saw two figures rise from the trench, climb over the barbed wire, and advance, unprotected across no man's land.
One of them called, Send us to talk!
I saw one of them Richard backwards to the way, and no doubt other did the same. But our captain called out, Hold your fire! Then he climbed out and went to meet the Germans halfway.
We heard them talking, and a few minutes later, the captain came back with a German cigar in his mouth. We've agreed there will be no shooting before midnight tomorrow, he announced. But sentries to remain on duty, and the rest of you, stay alert.
Across the way, we could make our groups of 2 or 3 men, starting out of our trenches and coming toward us.
Then some of us were climbing up too. And a minute more, there we were in no man's land. Over 100 soldiers and officers on each side, shaking hands with the men who had been tried to kill just hours earlier.
Before long, a bonfire stirred, and around it were mingled British khaki and German greys. I must say the Germans were the better dressed with fresh uniforms for the holiday.
Only a couple of men knew German, but all of the Germans knew English. I asked one of them why that was. Because many have worked in England, he said. Before all this, I was a waiter at Hotel Cecil. Perhaps I waited on your table. Perhaps you did, I said, laughing.
One German told me he had a girlfriend in London and that the war had interrupted their plans for marriage. I told him, Don't worry, we have you beat by Easter. Then you can come back and marry the girl. He laughed at that. Then he asked if I sent her a postcard he'd give me later, and I promised I would.
Another German had done a portrait at Victoria Station. He showed me a picture of his family back in Munich. His eldest sister was so lovely. I said I should like to meet her someday. He beamed and said he would like that very much, and gave me his family's address.
Even those who could not converse could still exchange gifts. Our cigarettes for their cigars, our tea for their coffee, our corned beef or sausage. Badges and buttons from uniforms changed owners, and one of the lads walked off with an infamous piked helmet.
I myself traded a jackknife for the leather equipment belt, a fine souvenir to show when I get home.
Newspapers too changed hands, and Germans howled with laughter at ours. They assured us that the France was finished, and Lusher nearly bitten too.
We told them that was nonsense, and one of them said, "Well, you believe your newspapers and we'll believe ours."
Clearly, they are lied to. Yet, after meeting these men, I wonder how truthful our own newspapers have been.
These are not the savage barbarians we've read so much about. They are men with homes and the families, hopes and the fears, principles, and, yes, love of country.
In other words, men like ourselves.
Why are we led to believe otherwise?
As it grew late, a few more songs were traded around the fire, and then all joined in for I'm Not Lying to You. Old Lang Syne.
Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and all lang syne?
Then we parted with promises to meet again tomorrow.
And even some talk about football match.
I was just starting back to the trenches when an older German clasped my arm. "My God," he said, "why can't we have peace and no go home?" I told him gently that you must ask your emperor. He looked at me searchingly, "Perhaps, my friend, but also we must ask our hearts."
And so, dear mother,
Dear wife,
Dear friend,
Dear sister, tell me!
has there ever been such a Christmas Eve in all history?
and what does it tell me in this impossible befriending of enemies?
for the fighting here, of course. It means regrettably little. Decent fellow those soldiers may be, but they follow orders and we do the same.
Besides, we are here to stop their army and send it home. And never do we shirk that duty.
Still, one cannot help imagine what would happen if the spirit shown here were caught by the nations of the world.
Of course, disputes must always arise.
But what if our leaders were to offer well wishes in place of a warning?
Songs in place with slurs.
Presents in place of reprisals.
Will not the whole war end at once?
All nations say they want peace.
Yet, on this Christmas morning, I wonder if we want it quite enough.
Yours truly.
Yours always.
Sincerely.
With all my love.
John.
Andrew.
Philip.
Tom.
聞きたまえ、鈴をつけたソリの音を、白銀の鈴の音を、なんと素晴らしい喜びの世界をそのメロディーは告げていることか。
Hear the sledges with the bells. Silver bells.
What a world of merriment their melody foretells.
How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle
In the icy of night,
Why the stars that always sprinkle, all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight.
keeping
Time, time, time.
in a sort of runic climb to the tintinnabulation that so musically wells.
From the bells,
Bells,
bells, bells, bells, bells, bells. From the jingling and the tinkling of the bells.
The night before Christmas.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when no through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon will be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads.
And my handkerchief and my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out of the lawn there rose such a clatter.
I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter.
I went to the window and blew like a flash, threw open the shutter and threw up the sash.
The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below.
When, what to my wondering eyes should appear, but a miniature sleigh and a tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick.
I knew in a moment
It must be Saint Nick!
One rapid and eagle, his course as they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name.
Now then, sir! Now then, sir! Now then, Vixen!
On Comet,
On Cupid! On the Lamb Brazen!
to the top of the wall,
To the top of the wall! Now dash away, dash away, dash away, oh!
It's riding, you're the wild hurricane fly.
when they meet with an obstacle, man to the sky.
So up to the house of the courser they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling, I heard in the loop the blasting and bowling of each little feet.
As I drew in my hand, as I was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound.
He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his back.
His eyes how they twinkled, his dimple how merry, his cheeks were like a rose, his nose like a cherry.
His round little mouth was drawn up like a ball, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he had tied in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath.
He had a brown face and little round belly that shook, shook, shook when he laughed like a bowl of jelly. He was chubby and plump, or a jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself.
A wink of his eyes and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight his work, and filled all the stockings and turned with a jerk.
And laying his finger aside of his nose, and hearing a knock, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his train, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like a down on a thistle.
But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight.
Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night!
Like most expectant women, the mother, Virginia O'Hanlon, must have been full of hopes and joy when she was pregnant with Virginia. Christmas won't be Christmas without the birth of Jesus Christ. But we also cannot forget this little girl named Virginia O'Hanlon, for she was the one who kept bringing dreams to millions of people throughout the world.
I've got a many Christmas presents since I was a child, and now I realize that the greatest gift I've ever received is you, Virginia. When I am with you, it is as if I were a flower opening up my petals of life. When I am with you, it is as if I were a little girl myself waiting for a Santa Claus. You are truly the greatest gift from God.
The mother gave birth to a child. The O'Hanlons had named the baby Virginia. That was the year 1889. And now, 8 years later, she wrote perhaps the most famous letter ever written anywhere, in which she asked the New York Sun editor whether or not there was a Santa Claus.
Dear editor, I am 8 years old. Some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says, if you see it in the sun, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus? Virginia O'Hanlon.
Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They have been affected by the skepticism of a skeptical age.
They do not believe anything except what they see.
They think that nothing can be which cannot be understood by their little minds.
All minds, Virginia, for the demands or children are little.
In this great universe of ours, man is a mere insect, and in his intellect, if compared with the boundless world about him, is measured by an intelligence capable of grasping the whole of truth and knowledge.
Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist.
And you know that they give to life its highest beauty and joy.
How dreary the world would be if there were no Santa Claus. It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias.
There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry to make this existence tolerable.
The eternal light with which childhood filled the world will be extinguished.
Not believe in Santa Claus. You might as well not believe in fairies.
You might get your papa to hire men to watch in all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to catch Santa Claus.
But even if they did not see Santa Claus coming down, what would that prove?
Nobody sees Santa Claus, but that is no sign that there is no Santa Claus.
The most real things in the world are those that neither children nor men can see.
Did you ever see fairies dancing on the lawn?
Of course not, but that's no proof that they are not there.
Nobody can imagine all the wonders there are in the world.
You tear apart the baby's rattle
And see what makes a noise inside.
but there is a veil covering the unseen world, which the strongest man, or even the united strength, or the strongest man that ever lived, could not tear apart. Only faith, fancy, poetry, love can push aside the curtain
And view and picture the heavenly beauty and glory beyond.
Is it all real? Ah, Virginia, in all this world, there's nothing else real and lasting.
No Santa Claus. Thank God, He lives, and He lives forever. 1,000 years from now. No, 10 times. 10,000 years from now. He will continue to make glad the heart of childhood.
Suppose Virginia had written the letter today. Here are some of their possible replies. From U.S. Senator.
Dear Virginia, thank you so much for your letter on the 14th. I'm always happy to hear from my constituents on the issues of the day. As you know, my feelings on Santa Claus has always been a matter of public record, and I intended to speak out on the subject at appropriate time.
But because we plan to hold the hearings on this question, I believe it would be premature for me to tell you whether there is or is not a Santa Claus until we have all the facts. I am enclosing a speech I made on the floor of Senate concerning new guidelines for alternate snow removal from our national highways.
I thought you would be interested in this burning issue which affects all the citizens of our great state. Sincerely yours.
From the U.S. President George Bush and Mr. Michael Moore. We love Bush! We love Bush! No Bush! No Bush! We love Bush! We love Bush! No Bush! No Bush!
Hello, my fellow Americans and Virginia. Virginia, your little friends like these and their skeptical allies constitute an axis of evil, arming to threaten the fantasy and love of the world. Our warm skepticism begins with the skeptics of Santa Claus, but it does not end there. It will not end until every skeptics group of global reach has been found, stopped, and defeated. Deliver to United States authorities all of the leaders of enemies of Santa Claus who hide in your land. As long as the United States of America strongly believes in Santa Claus, this will not be an age of skepticism. This will be an age of fantasy and love here and across the world. Thank you.
From the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare.
Dear Virginia, we regret we are unable to process your request for an answer to your question. And you have filled out Form B1897 and input application L 904567, as well as submitting certification for 59K as outlined in paragraph 6. Page 198, Section 11, numbering 483W regulations. Once you have fulfilled these requirements, your question shall be forwarded to the appropriate department. But because of the pressure of work, we advise you not to contact us again for 8 months at the minimum.
When you do, please refer to SWER 1459-23, which is the number where that has been signed. Respectfully yours.
Dear Virginia, I regret to inform you that due to Federal Bureau of Investigation regulations, we are not at liberty to disclose the information that you asked for. You may appeal this decision under the Freedom of Information Act if you so desire. In the meantime, we are setting a file on you in which your letter is now listed as item number 1. We are also opening a file on Santa Claus. Clarence Kelly.
From the salesman of Encyclopedia Britannica.
Thank you so much for your letter and the question you raised. The answer to it can be found in our new 26th volume edition, which has now been offered at a special discount price.
Not only will you find the answer to whether there is or is not a Santa Claus, but you will find the answer to thousands of other questions come up in everyday school work and conversation.
Our representative will be calling on you after the first of the year to advise you on our easy term payment plan.
This is one investment
you never regret.
From Flight Attendant.
Attention please. Good evening ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to flight number 293, non-stop from New York to Narita. Sitting in front of you is Captain Naomi, and my name is Mizuno. Miss Virginia O'Halloran, you asked me whether or not there is a Santa Claus. Of course there is. Not only that, in a few hours, plane will be flying over Norway. If you look through the window, you can see home of the Santa Claus. I'm sure he will be there, but you won't be able to see him from up here, because he will be very busy making preparation for Christmas Eve. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, looks like plane has either been hijacked or entered in turbulence. Would you please securely fasten your seatbelt and stay calm?
Santa Claus! Merry Christmas!
Why, it isn't St. Nicholas. How did you get in? Well, you really scared the daylights out of us, Mr. Nicholas. Aren't you glad that you've met Santa Claus, though? Well, we wish you all a pleasant trip.
Now, if some of the historic figures would have written that letter, here are two possible replies. From Emile Zola.
We're Virginia. If you think as many of your friends think nothing can be which cannot be understood by their little minds, you're entirely mistaken. Do me the honor of believing that there is a Santa Claus. Look at me. Have I the look of a hireling, of a liar and a traitor? Why should I be playing a part? I have behind me neither political ambition nor sectarian passion. Santa Claus does exist! I swear it! I stake my life on it! My dear Virginia, I swear that Santa Claus does exist!
From Martin Luther King Jr. You ask whether or not there is a Santa Claus. Will I say to you today, Virginia, that in spite of what your friends or anyone else might say, you must believe there is a Santa Claus. So let his ho, ho, ho ring from the stone mountain of Georgia. Let his ho, ho, ho ring from every hill and every hamlet. I have a dream that one day you and I will be able to hold hands together and sing, Santa Claus is coming to town. Because thank God Almighty, Santa Claus is alive and well!
From Charles Chaplin.
Virginia, can you hear me? Of course, there is a Santa Claus. All you have to do is look up. As you can see right there. Whenever you all look up, Virginia, the clouds are lifting, the sun is breaking through. We are into a new world, a kindly world, where may rise up the hate, the greed and brutality. Look up, Virginia, look up.
Suppose heroes and heroines, movies, musicals, and novels would have written that rise. Here are some of the examples from Juliet.
Oh, Virginia, Virginia. Wherefore under Virginia, so naive and innocent? 'Tis but thy name that is thy fixation. He is himself, even if he not called Santa Claus. He whom we call Santa Claus by any other name will laugh at jolly. It could be a father, it could be a mother, it could be anyone. 'Tis the heart that counts. Love, Juliet.
To believe or not to believe in Santa Claus? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to believe in what may or may not be seen, or to refuse all belief in that which cannot. Get thee to a school and learn the truth about Santa Claus. To a school. Go! Sincerely, Parent.
From Princess Anne of Roman Holiday.
Is there a Santa Claus, Princess Anne?
Virginia, I trust you will not find it necessary to doubt even for a second whether or not there is a Santa Claus. Were I not completely aware of the invisible and what it means to us human beings, I would not be stranded out here alone, living in a castle.
Princess Anne, may I ask you just one more question? Of all the cities that you have visited in the past, which one did you enjoy the most?
Each in its own way. Each in its own way was unforgettable. It would be difficult to Rome. By all means, Rome. Virginia, I am a woman before I am a princess. I so believe in love. What's in a name? What's in a nationality? What's in an age? What's in a social rank? But I have to leave you now. I'm going to that corner there and turn, and you walk straight home, believing that there is a Santa Claus, as I try to cherish my dreams of Rome and a gentleman friend, Joe.
Hey, Jan! Grandma, I'm coming! Bye! From Medea.
Loathing is endless. Hate is a bottomless cup I pour and pour, Virginia! Oh, my little one. Why, you were so naive. Believing in Santa Claus is believing in men. You will only become unhappy as I am. No, there is no such thing as Santa Claus. It is myth. 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 Which will only drive women into hell down under the sea.
From Maria, from The Sound of Music.
Dear Father, now I know why you sent me here, to help little children prepare themselves for a new mother. Virginia, of course there is a Santa Claus. The sky is so blue today and everything is so green and fragrant. Now let's keep your chin up and sing a song, shall we? Dun, 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 dun. Es a Santa, Santa Claus.
Hey!
A Santa, Santa Claus.
And a Santa, Santa Claus. T, a Santa, Santa Claus. A, a Santa, Santa Claus. S, a Santa, Santa Claus. A, a Santa, Santa Claus. And a Santa, Santa Claus.
Do, re,
Mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, sol, do.
Oh, hell, Virginia! Oh, hell, Virginia! That's just believing Santa Claus forever!
Do not threaten traffic with the skepticism of the skeptical age!
Toss in overbold mortals face a dismal and fatal land.
They do not believe what cannot be understood through their foolish reason.
Such folly! So,
Double, double, toilet trouble! Higher burning cauldron bubble! Julie!
witches!
From Natsuko-zaima, from Kagoshima.
マジやろサンタクロースはおっか確かにこの目で見らんとおっかおらんかわからんがねやっとちーんと今日はしばらいば一日一日を消しん限り過ごせば
いけんな夢も叶うち勝つよ。そういやそげんことがあったが、あいは確か3年前。わいが確か
長い。もういい。
バジナドン、お姉
We
さんも
have
決まるよ。
special guest today. Well, the first special guest is Bill Kumai. Please, sir.
Hi. Well, dear Virginia, you ask if there's a Santa Claus. Well, let me tell you about my friend. My friend will tell you all about Santa Claus because, see, my friend was way up in the North Pole. It's so cold. Oh, and he was warming himself by the fire. Oh, nice fire. Then suddenly, he said, who's that? Who's that? Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, it's me. Who's me? It's Santa. Open the door. So, okay, I'll open the door. Ooh, it's cold outside. Say, hey, I need you to work today. You want me to work today? It's cold outside and it's stormy and rainy and lightning and Santa said, whoa, well, no, you gotta work because, do you know why you gotta work? I said, no, I don't know why I gotta work. Oh, because you got that nose. That nose is very red and it's very bright. So you're gonna lead my team tonight. Ooh. So, Virginia, if you want to know about Santa Claus, please ask my friend Rudolph. Sincerely yours.
Thank you very much. And now we also have another special guest. Miss Miyazaki, please.
This is from Mr. Nobusugiura in Nagoya.
おるがね、バンジニアちゃん、サンタさん。サンタさんの格好しとらんで、わからんだけだねやの。境の方にね、ホームレスの人いっぺんおるでしょ。あの人たちに時々ご飯を食べさせとる人がおるんだがね、その人たちがね、サンタさん。だってサンタさんってね、プレゼントみたいなものをくれる人でしょ。ね、他にもね、お金のね国に学校を建ててあげる人たちがおるんだわね。この人たちもサンタさん。わかる？ね？サンタさんはね、サンタの服を着とらんけども、他にもいっぺんおるよ、バージニアちゃん。
And finally, let's hear what some of the people who made headline in the news this year might have said to Virginia. From Michelle Obama.
The White House is a beautiful home where you go and come back, especially at night, with all the white lights on. It's just beautiful. We feel we have a good fortune of being able to sleep here. But this house belonged to America. In the same way, Virginia, Santa Claus is not a special person who comes from nowhere only the Christmas Eve, puts a present under the tree and disappears. Virginia, Santa Claus is a soul
It's a soul that lives in your dad's heart, mom's heart, in your heart, in everybody's heart. Only people don't recognize it.
From Nobuyuki Tsuji.
Just because you can't see him doesn't mean that he doesn't exist. If what cannot be seen doesn't exist, what about me? I am blind. My eyes cannot see anything, but I can see a lot of beautiful things which my eyes cannot see. And maybe that's why I was able to win the first prize. Yes, Virginia. Of course, there is a Santa Claus. With love, Nobuyuki Tsuji.
自分の弱さを戒め反省し、もう一度生まれ変わった気持ちで心を入れ替え、日々努力したいと思っています。決して二度とこのようなことで皆様の信頼を裏切ることはありません。From Noriko Sakai.
Before I answer that question, I must take this opportunity to apologize to all of you for having succumbed to the temptations. Starting today, I'm going to turn over a new leaf. I promise all of you, never disappoint you again and betray your trust for a thing like this. Virginia, dear, I'm not really qualified to answer your question, but this much I can tell you. I have a daughter of your age, and just as I want her to go on living believing in what she thinks is right, I want you to go on believing in Santa Claus. Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. 青いウサギは祈り続けるのよ。皆の心の深いところにいるはずのサンタクロースに世界中の人々皆が気がついてくれる日が来ることを信じて祈り続けるのよ。The only thing that can save this earth is heart of Santa Claus.
From Michael Jackson.
Are you Michael Jackson? Oh, yes, I am. Nice to meet you. I'm Britannica. What are you doing here? I'm just practicing. Some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Do you believe in Santa Claus?
Oh, Virginia, we are the world. We are the children. We are the ones that make a brighter day. So let's start giving, Virginia. There's a choice we're making. We're saving all our lives. It's true to make a better day, just you and me. Send in your heart, so they know that someone cares, and
Leiho-san. I'm Mao Asada.
Hi, Mao. You're practicing hard. Well, what's the use of being number 1 in the world? What's wrong with number 2?
世界一になる意味はあるのでしょうか。2位じゃダメなんですか？
I worked hard and ended up with second place. You said, what's wrong with second place? Everything is wrong. You see, I managed to win the second place because I had made conscious efforts to rank top in the first place. If I had a compromise saying second place is good enough, I wouldn't have even gotten second place.
銀メダルは金メダルを目指した者だけに与えられる勲章である。
Leiho-san, what you are saying in effect is cut dreams. Because dreams are useless. They do not any result soon. Virginia, you better not listen to Leiho. Dreams, no matter how useless they may seem, are important. Because they may someday come true. Yes, keep on believing that there is a Santa Claus.
Thank you, Mao.
Mao and Virginia, don't get me wrong. I never ever said dreams are not important. All I've been doing is cut the obvious garbage. For what? Precisely for your sake, for everybody's sake.
From Captain.
COP10 は関係各国並びにバージニアたちに以下の長期目標を提示して閉幕としたい。その1、生物多様性が評価され懸命に利用されることで地球が健全に維持され、すべての人々に恩恵が与えられる人と自然の共生世界が実現されていくこと。その2、心と現実は相互補完関係で結びついている。したがってサンタクロースを信じる心をすべての人々が持つことで、愛と喜びに満ちた世界がそれだけ早く実現するであろうということ。
We 33 of us were trapped in a mine underground for 68 days. How many times we thought this was the limit of physical and mental powers, but all the while we kept believing in human heart, that eventually rescue would be on our way. And so here we are, all the 33 of us.
Virginia, you say some of our young friends said there is no Santa Claus. Shame on them.
Just think, big husky guys like us now believe that the world is full of Santa Clauses.
For not believing Santa Claus, but then Santa Claus really did exist. His name was Saint Nicholas, and he himself wrote the following poem. Now, listen.
M for the music, merry and clear. E for the ear with the front of the ear.
R for the lumping of blind garden boys.
R for the reindeer that bring them the toys.
Y for the year they love softly aglow.
C for the cold of the sky and the snow. H for the house where they hang at the house.
R for the little with all possible balls.
I for the icicle to see through the pain.
S for the sleigh bells, tinkling refrain. T for the tree with gifts all abloom.
M for the mistletoe hung in the room.
A for the anthems we all love to hear.
S for Saint Nicholas,
Joy of the year! We wish you a Merry Christmas!
Oui, Virginie, le Père Noël existe. Il existe autant que l'amour, la dévotion et la générosité. Tout ce que tout cela existe est d'une vie, sa beauté et sa joie. Le monde serait bien sans Père Noël. Il serait aussi sombre que si tu n'existais pas.
Germany! Ja, Virginia, es gibt einen Weihnachtsmann. Es gibt ihn so gewiss für die Liebe und die Großherzigkeit und die Treue. Und du weißt ja, dass es all das gibt und deshalb kann unser Leben schön und heiter sein. Wie dunkel wäre die Welt, wenn es keinen Weihnachtsmann gäbe. Sie wäre so dunkel, als gäbe es keine Virginia.
From Spain! Sí, Virginia, Santa Claus sí existe. Así como existen la devoción y el amor. Y tú sabes que estos sentimientos nos llenan la vida de dicha y de gozo. ¿Cómo sería de diferente el mundo si no hubiera Santa Claus? Sería tan aburrido como si no existieran Virginias.
From China!
是的，全都老人是存在的，它的存在是有爱心、广大的心，为他人付出而不求回报的心，是同等的。就是爱，无时无刻存在在我们身边。我想你也知道，如果实现，就因为有就是爱，才会变得美丽。我们的想法才更加精彩。
From Philippines!
Oo, Virginia. Mayroon talagang Santa Claus. Siya ay naririto kagaya ng pagmamahal at pagbibigay at pagiging matapat. At alam mo, ang mga katangian na ito ay nagdudulot sa iyong buhay ng ubod na kagandahan at lubos na kaligayahan. Ang lungkot ng buhay kung wala ng Santa Claus, kasi lungkot kung wala ka rin, Virginia.
Kung ngayon man, wala magtitiisa upang maliit na bata. Wala rin mga tula upang mapagtiisan natin ang sulirain sa buhay. Ang ilaw ng walang hanggan mula sa ating mga kabataan na siya'y nagbibigay ng liwanag sa ating mundo ay mapupuksa magpakailanman.
From Japan!
Hi, Virginia. サンタクロースはいますよ。それは愛やおおらかな心。誰かのために尽くしたいという気持ちが存在するのと同じくらい確かなことです。それらは至るところにあるし、それらこそが人生のこの上ない美しさや喜びをもたらすものだということはあなたにもわかりますね。ああ、もしサンタクロースがいなかったらこの世はどんなにつまらないものになってしまうでしょう。そんなことになったらとかく住みにくい人の世を和ませてくれる子供らしい純真に信じる心も死も胸ときめかす物語もなくなってしまうではありませんか。子供らしい心が世界中に灯している永遠の光が一斉に消えてしまうことでしょう。
From Vietnam.
Vâng, Virginia, quả thật là có ông già Noel. Sự hiện diện của ông diễn tả một tình yêu quảng đại, một sự dấn thân cho tha nhân. Và như bạn cũng biết, những điều ấy sẽ làm cho cuộc sống của bạn trở nên cao quý, cùng vui thích nhất. Bạn cũng thừa biết rằng, thế giới này sẽ rất buồn chán nếu không có ông già Noel. Vâng, Virginia, quả thật là có ông già Noel.
A little Christmas tree was born and dwelt in open air. It did not guess how bright a dress someday its boughs would wear. Brown cones were all it thought a tall and grown-up fir would bear.
Oh, little fir, your forest home is far and far away. And here indoors, these balls of yours with colored balls are gay, with candlelight and tinsel bright, for this is Christmas Day.
A dolly fairy stands on top till children sleep. Then she, a live one now, from bough to bough goes gliding silently. Oh, magic sight, this joyous night, all laden, sparkling tree. And this joyous night is about to end.
To conclude this year's oral interpretation festival,
We are going to hear once again
Virginia's letter, read by Professors Omera and Kumai.
and by Miss Yukio Tsunekawa.
Dear editor, I'm 8 years old. Some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says if you see it in the stand, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there Santa Claus? Virginia or Hanlon?
Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They have been affected by the skepticism of a skeptical age. They do not believe anything except what they see. They think that nothing can be which cannot be understood by their little minds. All minds, Virginia, are little, whether they be men's or children's. In this great universe of ours, man is a mere insect, an ant in his intellect, if compared with the boundless world about him, if measured by the intelligence capable of grasping the whole of truth and knowledge.
Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist. And you know that they give to your life its highest beauty and joy.
How dreary the world would be if there were no Santa Claus. It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginia. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry to make this existence tolerable. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished.
Not believe in Santa Claus. You might as well not believe in fairies. You might get your papa to hire men to watch in all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to catch Santa Claus. But even if they did not see Santa Claus coming down, what would that prove? Nobody sees Santa Claus, but that is no sign that there is no Santa Claus. The most real things in the world are those that neither children nor men can see. Did you ever see fairies dancing on the lawn? Of course not. But that's no proof that they are not there. Nobody can imagine all the wonders there are in the world. You tear apart the baby's rattle and see what makes the noise inside. But there is a veil covering the unseen world, which the strongest man, or even the united strength of all the strongest men that ever lived, could not tear apart. Only faith, fancy, poetry, love can push aside that curtain and view and picture the heavenly beauty and glory beyond. Is it all real? Ah, Virginia, in all this world, there is nothing else real and lasting. No Santa Claus. Thank God he lives, and he lives forever.
1,000 years from now.
No, 10 times.
10,000 years from now.
He will continue to make glad the heart of childhood.
大橋先生へ。私は8歳の女の子です。友達はサンタクロースなんていないって言うの。パパに言ったら大橋先生に聞いておいでって。サンタさんは本当にいるんですか？教えてください。
私の小さな友達バージニア、今年も間もなくクリスマスがやってきます。神様の御子イエス様が来てくださるクリスマス。今年はイエス様の2000回目の誕生日。世界中の子どもたちが指折り数えて待っているクリスマスは、全世界を温かくする日。私たちの心を温め、私たちの中にある冷たさだって、意地悪な心だってみんな溶かしてしまう日。クリスマスはまるであったかいストーブのようです。バージニア、今日はお手紙ありがとう。サンタクロースは本当にいるんですかというあなたのお手紙を読んで、私は自分の子供だった頃のことを懐かしく思い出しました。実は私もあなたのように小さかった頃、あなたと同じようにサンタクロースは本当にいるんだろうかと真剣に考えたことがあったからです。でもあれから何十年も経って大人になった私は、サンタクロースは今もいると信じるようになりました。なぜならバージニア、私はこの世界には目に見える世界だけでなく、目に見えない世界、心の世界があるということを知ったからです。そして私は目には見えないけれども、私たちに命をくださった神様、私の大好きなお父さんお母さんやたくさんのお友達をくださった神様がいらっしゃることを信じるようになりました。そして今では2000年前に神様の御子イエス様が私たちが幸せになるように、幸福になるようにと願ってこの世界に来てくださったことを信じ、イエス様のお誕生日であるクリスマスを皆さんと一緒に喜びお祝いしています。バージニア、サンタクロースはおとぎ話や作り話の中の一人はありません。サンタクロースは本当に昔々トルコという国に住んでいたニコラウさんという名の司教様です。ニコラウ司教はいつも苦しんでいる人たちの相談相手になり、貧しい人たちには自分の財産を惜しみなく施し与えておりました。立派な人、聖人でしたから、みんなから聖ニコラウス様、サンタニコラウス様と呼ばれていました。聖ニコラウスは司教様でしたから赤い服を着ています。だからサンタクロースが赤い服を着ているのはそのためです。サンタクロースは今も心の世界に生き続けています。そしてすべての人たちに温かい思いやりの心を持った人になりなさいと呼びかけ、子どもたちや貧しい人たち、困っている人たちに心のこもったプレゼントを送って、 クリスマスをみんなと一緒に喜びなさいと励まし続けています。バージニア、今私はサンタクロースはいるのというあなたの質問にはっきり答えましょう。はい、サンタクロースは本当にいますよ。それではバージニア、皆さんと一緒に楽しいクリスマスを。メリークリスマス。私の親愛なる友へ。西暦2000年12月9日編集長大橋義也。
ありがとう先生。
それじゃあ元気でね。
There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven.
A time to be born, and a time to die.
A time to plant, and a time to pluck that which is planted.
A time to care, and a time to heal.
A time to break down and a time to build up.
A time to weep and a time to laugh.
A time to mourn and a time to dance.
A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven.
Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, God with us. Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. There were shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flocks by night. And lo, the angel came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone around about them, and they were so afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of the great joy, which shall be to all people. And suddenly there was with the angel, For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly hosts praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and peace on earth, goodwill toward men.
Ladies and gentlemen, the program has now come to a close. Will you all please stand, and together let's join the choir as we sing Silent Night. known world. For the world united in peace, let us bow our heads and pray.
Let us reflect upon the eventful 1993
and let us pray so the year 1994 will prove to be an even more fruitful year to all of us and London Junior College.
Thank you and good night.